Welcome back, y'all. We're back in my living room.
Hello, everyone.
Sorry if I sound a little southern sometimes, but we are in Silver Spring, Maryland.
We sure are.
We sure are. And as usual, on Hold Member Low, we're going to start off with...
Oh, right.
The wine tasting.
The wine breaker.
The wine breaker. All right, so today we are drinking Broadbent Vino Verde. In one of our last episodes, I talked about how I went to Portugal last year, and I've been obsessed with Vino Verde. Before COVID, I'm not trying to be vain or anything, I was super, super skinny, and I kind of enjoyed being skinny because it was always in style. Post-COVID, I went from like a 0 to about a 12. And let's just say wine might have had something to do with it. And since getting on the Vino Verde diet, I mean, I'm not losing weight quickly. It's not Ozempic. But I gotta say, I've dropped some pounds. Like, my belly's gone. I used to have a really big belly. And honestly, like, it got to the point where I just kept telling people I wasn't pregnant. And I'm not trying to advocate for people going crazy and buying Vino Verde and drinking it all day thinking you're going to lose weight. But drinking white wine in general and drinking Vino Verde has really curbed my weight gain and has helped my weight battle a little bit. I would say I went from probably about a size 10, 12, maybe to like about a size 6, 8 now, which is really nice. It feels good to be a little tinier. Anywho, today we're drinking Broadbent's Vino Verde. I'm going to read the back of the bottle. It reads, Broadbent has partnered with family-owned wineries around the globe to produce wines rich with essence of place and tradition. Broadbent wines represent authentic character and infinite pleasure. Beautifully fresh with a tart, green apple, white peach, and melon flavors. A delicious, crisp, and zest finish. Listen, these people got good American marketing to help them. Okay, that was really well written because wine in America is considered kind of snobby, you know? So if you drink wine like me and don't ever drink beers and all that kind of stuff, or, you know, I don't really do hard liquor. A lot of people are like, oh, you are the pinkies up type of person. And I'm like, you goddamn right. Hello, I'm all about my wine, all right? So anywho, we're going to do a wine tasting on Broadbent's Vino Verde. We're going to start off with the smell. Oh, smells like the ocean.
It sure does. So I'll start off first. So basically, it's really gentle. It's not very strong. It has a citrus yet ocean breeze sort of smell to it.
Right?
Yeah, it's like very clear, very flamboyant, very joyful sort of smell. I don't know how I'm adding emotions, but it is. It's nothing
refreshing. It's
nothing like any wine that I've smelled before here in the United States, because it's always very, very strong.
Yeah.
But this one's just very gentle from the very start.
Yeah, it's impressive, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5.
Damn, Marty, and you're usually pretty hard. So, yeah, so this is good stuff. All right, what about the color?
So, actually, you go ahead.
Oh, so the smell for me, I'm going to give it a 3. I want a little bit more of a kick, but it really does smell like the ocean. It smells super fresh, super crisp. I think a cold is coming on too, so you have to excuse the rating, but I'll give it a straight 3. I think it's pretty decent. It's a decent smell.
Okay. Coloration?
Or color, I'm gonna give it a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 3. It's pretty average. There's nothing really wrong with it, but nothing that I can say that's on top of it. It is clear, it is nice, but there's this layer that's on top that sits right on top of the wine. It's probably, the natural oil that comes with the wine and stuff like that, but it's just nothing really interesting to talk about. It's just a really normal white wine with its own texture. But finally, let's move on to the best part.
Did I rate the color?
You did.
Okay.
So let's move on to the best part, the taste.
I've been drinking. It is so crisp, and like I say, I'm a fan of bubbles. I love Prosecco's and champagnes. Anything with bubbles is always fun for me, always exciting, because it just tastes expensive. So I'm going to give the taste a 4.
I'm also going to give it a 4.
What?
So, it hits pretty nice. I don't feel like it's heavy. I don't feel like it's intrusive. Mm-hmm. It's soft to the palate. It's really good.
Oh, wow.
Nice taste, nice
texture. Definitely nice texture.
Yeah.
It's light. So, it's light. It's just light. To me it tastes like it tastes like 5% alcohol. It doesn't really taste like alcohol. It's like lime juice. It's like sparkling lime juice.
You said it. I agree.
Yeah. So I think it's about a 4 rating across the board. We're going to give Broadbent's Vino Verde a 4 out of 5 and recommend.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, so I know in an episode a while ago I said that I would not talk about Donald Trump until
he becomes relevant again.
Yeah, and I really feel the need to talk about him because of the debate that just happened and just the scramble that liberals are having and progressives are having right now, because Joe Biden's performance on the first presidential debate of 2024 was abysmal, to say the least. It was catastrophic, if you ask me. It was lackluster. It was awful. It was a flat 0 out of 100 performance. It was so bad that, I mean, honestly, I'm not a crier, but I could have cried that night. I'm being honest. I could have cried that night. It was that bad. The first presidential debate happened on Thursday, which was, let's see what day that was. Thursday was June 27th. And mind you, Joe Biden called for this date. He also, I think his campaign and his people asked for certain things, like no talking over a certain amount of time. It's on CNN, which is a hyper-liberal space. I think they kind of dabble a little bit in the right, but not really. They're really a liberal, super progressive channel. The commentators are typically liberals. They do have some Republicans that come on there, as they do on all kind of news media stations, but they're pro-Joe Biden, all right? This is not Fox News doing the moderation. This is Joe Biden's people. It could have been MSNBC or CNN or, anyone. Well, I think NBC and ABC, I think, also are liberal stations. Like, this was Joe Biden's debate to lose. Is that what it's called? To lose?
Yep.
This was his to lose. Like, it's not that he got everything handed him on a silver platter, but this was a great tee-up for him. It's like, you're going up against someone who has 34 felony counts.
Yep.
A rape charge, right? He's not accused. He hasn't been found liable for the rape, but he's basically... you have to read between the language, but for all intents and purposes, he's been found to have raped a woman, all right? Miss E. Jean Carroll, he said he had to pay her $98 million. he had to pay the state of New York about...
By the way, keep looking at the camera.
Yeah, he had to pay the state of New York about $500 million, of which $175 million, right, I think of it has been paid. But he owes the state of New York about $500 million. And he has court cases all over the country. State and local cases. He has federal cases. So, like, when you commit a crime, any kind of a crime, I think it depends on the jurisdiction and the type of crime, like, who's going to prosecute you. This guy has court cases in, like, all kinds of jurisdictions. Sure. He even has, the New York... What's it called? The New York... What was the trial that just ended in New York?
The 34 counts, the whole, like...
right. So New York has an interesting...
fun thing.
New York has, like, an interesting kind of space in the court world because I believe it's also one of the only states that can prosecute, like, big foreign cases or something like that. They have, like, a special jurisdiction for New York.
Yeah.
He was being prosecuted by one of the spaces that kind of has to have, like, the best of the best legal eagle people to prosecute the cases. And they found him guilty of 34 felony counts. A lot of it campaign finance fraud. We all know Trump loves to do a lot of financial fraud. That's something he's well known for. And also basically lying and hiding the fact that he slept with a porn star, and took that story and kind of covered it up and made sure it never got out, which kind of hurt. Was it Hillary Clinton he was running after?
Yep.
Yeah, he hurt Hillary Clinton's campaign because that information never got out. Apparently suppressing information like that is illegal. I didn't even know that. I don't even really care, honestly, about the sleeping with the porn star part. It's the campaign finance fraud that I'm very concerned about. Trump is always finding himself in... it's almost always in some kind of financial fraud situation. And I don't understand his fan base and the people that are kind of egging him on to continue with this campaign, knowing the myriad of problems and legal cases that he has going. I have heard that the Democrats actually have a plan in place in case he wins to possibly put up a fight to say that he's ineligible to be president because of the felonies that he has right now, amongst all the other cases that he has going that are kind of like stuck in the mud right now. Because
yeah, but by that time it will be too late.
Of course it'll be too late, and the Supreme Court will give it to him anyway. Let's just be real. But that's the Democrats. One of the Democrats I heard, okay, no, don't quote me. This is what I heard along the pipeline, that they're trying to figure out a way that if he does win, to say that he's ineligible to be president, which to me is beyond mind-boggling because he shouldn't have made it this far. But he has, and his people want him in office, and he has that power. I didn't want to talk about him again. I am exhausted of talking about this guy. Since he beat Hillary Clinton in 2016, it has been Donald Trump television, like on all news stations. Like the liberal media and the far right, the Fox News and the Newsmax and all these other stations, they refuse to let this guy just do his madness. They follow him 24/7. They give him so much air and so much power. And I have said it before, I believe they do this because of the ratings that he brings in.
Okay, so we're crashing out on other different things, and I just want to...
Right, and we'll get to the topic at hand, but I just wanted to kind of tee it up for some conversation.
Gotcha. But yeah, I'm just more interested in the topic because all this just feels like a replay of 2016 and 2020.
Yeah, agreed.
And it's just... I felt like I've already answered it so many times before, so I just want to focus back on what happened recently, which was the debate.
Did you watch the debate?
I did not. I was instead asleep.
Good for you. You didn't miss anything.
I only like woke up in the
horrible.
middle of the night and I saw the tweets and the gifs and video snippets and stuff
my
like that. But
God.
even then, I wasn't like, honestly, like, I wasn't
Surprised.
surprised
You
nor
thought,
been invested.
did you think that was going to happen?
I thought that was. I'll be honest with you. In my head on the debate, one of the reasons why I didn't want to watch it was, one, because it was either going to be a repeat of like nobody was going to win, like it was
Right.
going to be heated and nobody actually won, and it was just going to be an interruption and a jab at one another. The second thing, sorry, give me 1 second. The second option was going to be Joe Biden winning, like getting him in little snippets of points and performing a lot better, but like, but that dying down very quickly later on.
Right.
And the third thing was exactly this, that he was going to be slow, he was not going to be as fast, as reactive as it is. And this is 1 out of 3.
Yeah, it is out of 3 debates.
Well, no, this is 1 out of 3 options that I knew it was going to happen.
Okay.
And the reason why is because, like, let's face it, Joe Biden's old. But the other thing is that
So is Donald Trump. Let's not forget
Sure.
that. They're just 3 years apart or something like that.
The other thing is that I really don't care. And I'll get further into it as to why. But one of the reasons why I didn't care for the debate was because this was going to be the first one. I think there was like already a repeat of what happened before, already in 2020.
Right.
He was actually like this on the first debate too.
Oh, wow.
And it was only like, oh, what's going on with Joe Biden now in the second debate? He looks more energized. He looks more this.
Oh, wow.
So it felt like somebody was scripting Joe Biden to be in a certain way. And for me, it's like, very puppeteering. But it's like, as I said, I just don't care. And I'll explain further on as we're going into the topic.
Fair. So, obviously, the topic at hand today is the debate.
So to start us off,
It was, like I said, it was really lackluster on Joe's part, and just wanted to discuss, like, I think we could call this episode the dangerous case of Donald Trump. Personally, I've been watching politics, I've been listening to political campaigns and all these types of things most of my life because, I don't know if I said this before, both my parents are former politicians within their own countries. They've served within their own countries, so these are people that talk about world politics, local politics. They're politicians to their core. They follow the news. I listen to the BBC, like, I don't know, from the time I was super, super little.
Sure.
Now I'm in America. I listen to NPR all the time, which is kind of like the BBC version of for us. And I watch an inordinate amount of news. Like, most of it is television. So I do read some political books that I find kind of interesting, or I feel like I should buy it and read it. And I dabble. And the Republicans in general have been moving towards like this really, really far right, out of this world kind of delusional state where they've been taking over certain amounts of power, but like they're in their own world. Like the moral kind of window for them is just broken. Like they're all over the frickin' place. Not too long ago, they had a pedophile within their party running, and they let him run.
Yep.
A known pedophile. Like, they had evidence that this guy was, like, in his 30s trying to hook up with, like, 14 and 17-year-olds. And they let him run. They're like, it's better we have a Republican than a Democrat. It's like, but a pedophile? You couldn't get a better candidate? To me, I thought that was so bizarre because they're the party of morals. Anyway, let me get to what it is we're here to talk about, which is the debate. It was the first president versus former presidential debate on television. I wanted to run through a little bit of the former kind of political candidates that have come up through the ranks over the years. So as far back as when I really started following the news, I was like starting to understand it. I was probably around like 13, 14. So this is around the time that Bush won. So there's 2 Bushes. They're both named George Bush, and they have literally the same name except one letter. So anywho, so I'm going to say Bush 1 and Bush 2. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, go Google. But the first political campaign I watched was Bush 1 versus Clinton. I watched the debates, and Bush 1, George Bush, former President Bush, who's now passed, R.I.P. I actually liked him. He came from a political party, and I think he and his family are very much kind of like people who go into politics just thinking they're going to win based on their name. They have very big name recognition. Anybody named Bush is a big deal in politics. So anywho, Bush 1 thought he was going to win. Clinton didn't massacre him, but he was younger, more vibrant. The economy crashed, and Bush 1 lost. Okay? Then we had, Clinton did 2 terms, so he won both his terms. And then we had Al Gore, who was his vice president. Okay? In case you haven't figured it out, usually vice president run after their president's terms are over if they get that, opportunity. So Al Gore ran against
George Bush.
George Bush 2. Okay, Bush 2. So Al Gore ran against Bush 2. It was a bizarre campaign for Bush 2, because Bush 2 was not very smart. That's just the absolute truth.
Yeah.
He was not clever, not smart. He made a lot of gaffes. He didn't know a lot of history. Al Gore looked like Albert Einstein trying to battle like a 2-year-old in most of the debates. It was really bad, but the Republicans always stick together. Bush 2 won. Bush 2 went for 2 years, and then it was Obama versus
John McCain.
John McCain, who's a war hero. In case you do not know, also in politics, typically they already have somebody kind of planned out that they're going to give the ticket to. It was McCain's turn to get that ticket. So Obama was not actually the Democrats' next person for tee-up. It was actually Hillary Clinton. So Hillary Clinton couldn't amass enough support within the party to get it, and Obama got the ticket. Surprisingly, I really thought it was Hillary Clinton that was going to get that one. Obama came out of left field, didn't really blow out of the park, but he beat her in the convention and got the ticket.
Okay.
He beat McCain, and then he did 8 years, and then it was Clinton came back again after 8 years, right? And then Clinton was versus because Obama did 2 terms, so then Clinton came.
I'm sorry, it's Clinton versus Trump.
So then it was Hillary Clinton, not Bill Clinton, okay? Because the other Clinton we're talking about was Bill.
Sure.
So then it was Clinton versus
Trump in 2016.
In 2016, and we all know what that disaster was that came about. Hillary Clinton
lost the election, and let's just be clear. She lost because apparently her name is really big, and some people have said on a lot of broadcasts that I've watched that she really just thought she was going to beat him. But what's his name? Trump is just like Bush. You can't underestimate the opponent just because you have a name. Yeah. You don't necessarily get to win just because you have a name. Apparently, she was very arrogant. Extremely arrogant.
It turned off a lot of Democrats, too. And there was some funny business within the DNC as to how she got the ticket. And there were Democrats that were even pissed off about that. There was a lot of leaks within the campaign. And lo and behold, Donald Trump, who basically amassed popularity by being the opposite of Obama. Instead of kind of going towards everybody's heart, he went towards the white working class. Super smart, right? Good, smart move because they're a big part of the population. And they just have been in love with him ever since, because he talks about Make America Great Again, by the way, which was a catchphrase that was a Reagan catchphrase that he stole. And he's just been super popular. So anyway, then it was Clinton versus Trump. Trump won. He beat, what's his name? Trump beat Clinton so badly that she said she would never run again, which is insane. And he didn't even really beat her that badly because she won the popular vote. She just didn't win the electoral college. Google how you win the Electoral College if you don't know how that works. It's too long to explain. So, anywho, now it was Trump's term was up after 4 years. He has to run again. And it was Trump versus Biden. And Biden beat him basically because there was a pandemic. Trump was totally
unlikable. He was divisive.
Yes.
He had a lot of issues and a lot of problems like no other president ever. His cabinet was corrupt. The executive office was
super corrupt.
Was demeaned by everyone, including our international allies and enemies. And Biden didn't so much win because people liked him more so much as they hated Trump.
Yes.
And so we'll get to let's jump into the debate of 2024. So
which is a rematch.
So go ahead and tell us what happened that night.
Okay, so just hold on. Let me see where I wanted to go from there. So now it's Trump. It's Trump versus Biden again. Take two. And okay, if you remember the debates that I don't remember all the debates of Trump versus Biden. It's just that Trump was so erratic during the debates, like the older debates. We'll find a clip to throw in here maybe at another time. But
do you have like point by point on what happened? I would suggest to start from the beginning.
No, I'm not gonna do point by point. It's beyond pointless to point out the horrific display of just an old man on stage versus another old man that has some vigor.
So let's take it in a different approach then. How did you feel in the first 10 minutes of watching the debate? The first 10 minutes.
Not even the first 10 minutes. My dad called me within the first 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, my parents are really big political buffs. And he says, I'm going to bed. He's like, I can't. He called me. He said, I can't watch this. It's so sad. And I was like, Dad, it's only 5 minutes. He was like, I know he's lost. He's like, this is over. So, not that the presidential pick is over. It's just that this debate is over, hands down. It's finished. And I knew exactly what my dad meant. Because I felt the very same way. Like, my heart went, like, really down to my butt. Like, it was like, damn, it sank. I felt bad for Biden, not because of what he was saying. It's how he appeared and how he sounded. 1, he looked weak. 2, he sounded hoarse. You could barely hear him. Now, I follow the news every day, okay? And I don't follow Fox News because they're just so far to the right that it's impossible to follow them. I follow MSNBC and CNN. I'm more of a liberal than anything, and I agree with most of what they're saying, unfortunately, but, that's where I am in my life. Joe Biden gave them so much red meat. Like, they could take this tape and play it over and over again, and to me, possibly win the election just based on this first performance. It was so bad. They've been saying he's senile, he's old, he's weak, he can barely stand up. And it's like, come on, that's what they're saying. If you appear that way, it's like then they're telling the truth. Joe Biden, for the most part, when he does like interviews and things like that, yes, he's old, all right? He's an old man. He's in his 80s, all right? But so what? He's human, right? Getting old is a part of life, all right? A lot of politicians are old. We've done a whole episode on the number of 80-year-olds in Congress, right?
So,
and also, mind you, people are going into their 90s into their next term.
So, real quick.
Right.
Remember, your audience is that light over there.
Okay, got it. So, within the first 5 minutes, my dad took off the TV, went to sleep. My brother texted me the next day. He's like, I took it off after 30 minutes. He was like, I couldn't watch it after 30 minutes. I sat here with my dog, and if I was a crier, I would have gotten some Kleenex, and we would have both cried together. It was a disheartening performance. So I'm going to play a clip from Jon Stewart, who is, by the way, he did an excellent job right afterwards on a live show where they did a mashup of what happened, and it was sad. This is Jon Stewart kind of showing how Biden just wasn't up to the game, and was kind of slow and gave Trump too much to feed up off of him because he was just so slow.
Sure.
It's going to be an important discussion between two important men. What are the rules?
We want to share the rules of the debate with the audience at home. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals.
What can you do in 2 minutes? I can't even articulate what's wrong with your entire setup to this debate. An ad break to watch a Hulu show is 3 minutes. What can you do in 2 minutes? But all right, well, that's going to winnow out anything that might be interesting or substance. But let's begin. We know the bar that's been set up for each to pass. Biden has to not look old and not have a senior moment. Go.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Okay, so with that clip, it was so bad that Trump basically was like, I don't know what that guy just said. He and Trump kept doing that. He's like, I don't know what that guy said. I don't even know if he knows what he said. And when you listen to it, it's like he didn't answer the question. He lost his train of thought, and like he totally forgot what he was saying. Mm-hmm. He had a couple of moments like that, and Trump just
pounded on him.
Oh, he pounded on him, and he had the right to do so. It is a debate. Now, like I said, I watched the news 24/7. I could not believe how many lies Donald Trump said, and how Biden barely ever said that was a lie. Like, he lied for 90 minutes. He barely told any truths, if any truths at all. He mentioned things that he did and blamed it on Biden. It was so bizarre. I was like, am I in 1984 literally? Like the book? Google it if you haven't read it. It was like the Twilight Zone. Like, is it Opposites Day? Like, what happened here? Trump lied all night. The moderators didn't call him out on it, which they don't have to, by the way. It's not their jobs. It's Joe Biden's job to be like, hey, even if you're hoarse, like, that was a lie, but let me tell you what really, let me give you my answer, but that was a lie. Never really called out Trump on lying, which was beyond disheartening. And Biden basically had one moment within the show where, not the show, the debate, where he kind of shined. And it was a part when Trump talked about Biden's son. And I think Biden is, he really is like I think a dad's dad. He seems like this really great dad. Or at least he tries his best as much as he can, even though he's a really big public figure. And I think when Trump mentioned that his son just got a couple felony counts himself, I think Biden just lost it. He was like, how dare you? And this is Biden kind of telling Trump that he is a criminal too.
Civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You really have the morals of an alley cat.
Jesus. All right, that was okay. So that was like. So Biden mentioned the 34 felony counts, how he slept with a porn star, how he owes all these millions of dollars, how he raped a woman, and, you know, he had to pay her like $98 million, how he owes a lot of money. He still has a lot of cases around the country. And then he said, you have the morals of an alley cat. And I gotta say, that part warmed my heart. I was like, okay, that was actually pretty clever, but it was the only clever thing he kind of said all night.
Okay.
That was pretty much it. And Trump, of course, didn't even respond to the felony counts because he knows they're true.
Yep.
He didn't respond to all the millions of dollars that he owes and all the other court cases and whatnot. He didn't respond that he's not an amoral individual, immoral individual. He just said, I didn't sleep with a porn star. Which is insane. Like, Biden just said all these negative things about you, and the only thing you have to say is, all those things are probably true, but I didn't sleep with a porn star. Which is beyond bizarre. And I would play more clips, but it's just too sad to play the clips. And I don't have video capability, but Jon Stewart does a great job of showing Joe Biden just at his worst. He looked really bad. The makeup was bad. He looked tired and out of it. He looked like a corpse. I'm gonna be just blunt and honest. He looked bad. Trump looked vibrant. He looked up to the game. He was lying throughout the whole thing, but he looked like
he was ready.
He looked like he was ready to go on day one to do whatever madness he wants to put up on this country again. And the thing about his base is, they're running with this. They're like, this is good stuff. He did great. And it's like, I don't know what drugs they pumped into Trump that day, because he was composed. For the most part. He wasn't as erratic as like he used to be on all the other debates that he had with Biden in 2020.
I think it's because of the fact that Trump picked up on the energy that Biden was putting out, and he picked up on the fact that I don't have to be defensive.
I don't even have to try that hard.
I just have to say what I need to say, and let's see how this goes. The reason why I don't think like he was erratic this time is because there was nothing. The energy wasn't right for him to be defensive. You'll notice that when he's erratic, when he's shouting and all that stuff, is because he feels like he's being put into a corner.
Yeah, true.
But because Biden is struggling, is because of seniority.
Yeah.
Biden's just looking at it as like, okay, I feel attacked, but it's soft, so I don't feel cornered.
Right.
So all he had to do is just play his cards as he usually does, and he was pretty good to go. So I kind of want to speed up this whole thing real quick. We've been going on for a while now on this whole thing, and I just want to say, even though I haven't watched the debates, I do want to go into why they don't matter to me,
right,
and why it might matter to the to his perception and everything else, but ultimately why
you're gonna vote for him anyway. Basically.
Why I'm going to vote for him anyway.
Okay.
And then we can go into a little bit of conspiracy theory afterwards.
Okay, sure. So I'm gonna do a smidge of a promotion for a book. So I do read books sometimes for the show. I didn't read this book in full, but trust me, I will, because I am terrified if Trump even has a chance of winning, and right now it's looking pretty bad for the Democrats.
We could do that at the end,
real
quick.
Just, please, let me talk about the book.
The reason why is because
Because what?
Because we're going to go into conspiracy theory, and that's going to link up into...
The book?
Yeah.
Well, we could talk about the book again, then. It's okay.
No, because we have a couple of other things that we're going to talk about right now. Let me go ahead and lead, and I'll demonstrate.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and knock this out of the park so that we can speed this up and get to a more concrete conclusion at the end. That's why I want to do it the way that I'm about to do it right now. So I didn't watch the debate. You did.
Right, and
you were fully disappointed. I wasn't. I was fully refreshed in the morning. I was like, oh man, that sucks. Anyways, let me move on with the rest of my day. The reason why I chose to do that is because one, I'm not a news person anymore. I'm not like from your generation where I'm highly dependent on the three major news networks, where I'm not constantly bombarded with like bad news or like troubling news or repetition of the same thing that I just heard a couple of minutes ago,
which is basically the news cycle.
And here's the thing: I use social media all the time, but even then, I don't partake too much into politics or anything like that. Not because I'm not interested. I'm highly interested, but because of the fact that like ultimately it doesn't matter. Like you have to look at the bigger picture ultimately and actually see, okay, who's going to accomplish this? What is it exactly that came out that's going to change, and that's exactly going to make several changes in your life or in the life of the politics.
Right.
And so when I didn't watch the debates, I was fully minded. I was like, oh, wait, I kind of already expected this because I know that, one, Biden isn't old.
Yeah.
Two, this is kind of a repeat of 2020 already. We've seen this already. Three, it's not going to change my mind. Right. Because I'm not voting for Biden because of Biden. I'm voting for Biden because of the position of where he is.
Right.
This is an election where it's a cult versus a concept.
Very true.
So
it literally is.
It's a cult of personality versus the ideal and the concept of America.
Very true.
So, as said before, this is a repetition of 2020. People didn't vote for Biden because they liked him. People voted for Biden because they hated Trump. They hated Trump because he is nothing like any other president. Because he's
not presidential.
He is not presidential by any demerit. He has caused a lot of embarrassment and a lot of integrity lost in the presidential and as well as our government seat. People can say, oh, politics is corrupt. But here's the thing where people keep missing, and this is why I hate centrists all the time, because people constantly say, Republicans and Democrats are the same. No, they're not, you stupid son of a... Which is the party that took away women's rights for abortion? Which is the party that keeps trying to demean minority rights in the South? Which is the party that's constantly trying to say no to everyone? Which is the party that's trying to constantly privatize everything every single time?
For real.
It's not the Democrats.
No.
You could call Democrats racist. You can call Democrats this and lazy or too impolite or too sincere or too compassionate. But at the end of the day, they know what they stand for. Republicans know what they stand for. These are not two parties that are the same,
and they're anti-LGBTQ to the point where it's like
exactly
bizarre.
Exactly. So when I look at that whole conception and that whole principle, Biden is not a person to me. Biden is a concept behind everything. Trump is a cult of personality first and foremost.
I hate
nobody in his line cares about the people that Trump promotes, because ultimately, as long as they have the name Trump behind them, they can care all they want. Their leader says to support this, they will do it.
Yeah.
And
they're so strange.
Right. And so in this debate, it didn't demonstrate anything different other than, oh, Biden is having a senior moment right now. Oh, well. Here's the thing. I'm still voting for him because I like his ideas. I like what he's done in office. I like the fact that people are making money. I like the fact that the economy is okay. I like the fact that we're actually becoming number one again in the world. Right. I like the fact that we're actually talking about things that we need to get done. I like the fact that even though we're not passing that many laws, we're actually putting them on the table this time.
Right.
And the laws that are getting done we're seeing major effects. I like the fact that things are actually moving forward. Right. Every time. But when Trump was in office, we didn't get many things done at all.
No, we didn't. We didn't do anything, actually. We just cut taxes for rich people. Literally, that's it.
And here's the thing. Because of that, there's a reason why you're not getting your tax returns this year. It's because of Trump's phantom things. Or
By
phantom
the way,
effects.
I got an $11,000 tax note. OMG. But just to be fair to the IRS, they said they caught a glitch from 2011. I don't even know how that's possible.
Damn.
But it's a long story. But nonetheless, taxes is killing people.
Right.
It's killing people.
Here's the thing. I understand housing is
through the roof, expensive.
Expenses are going through the roof and all that.
Food
That's
is
fine.
expensive. Gas is expensive.
But I can also tell you at the same time, these are actually also because of the effects of good things as well. But that's a story for another time that I'm not going to get. Here's the thing.
But that's hurting.
It's hurting.
Biden,
but these things, even though they should be addressed, is a situation of suffering from success. And again, we'll talk about it in another episode. But to have these problems is because we're so successful. And if you really think about it, it's because there's higher demand to live in the cities. There's higher demand of other things. And when there's higher demand, the cost of those demands go up. So
I don't really thoroughly agree with that.
because there's a demand of housing, there's a demand of cities. We used to live in smaller towns. We talked about this in our previous episode about how like small town America is no longer existing anymore. It's because everyone's moving to the rurals and suburbs and to the cities, but they're not moving to the small towns anymore. Those small towns used to provide like an ability for the cities to relax themselves, but because those things are not being like pushed forward, which actually could solutionize our housing situation, really, because if people start moving to smaller towns, those towns have cheaper homes, those towns have the ability to provide better services and cleaner resources as well as infrastructure. But because we're living in the world right now that the cities are becoming a boom,
right,
there's a higher demand of cost. Right. But again, we're not going to talk about that right now. That's up for the topic for another time. Point is, all these things and everything and more is the reason why I'm still voting for Biden. Yeah, he's old, but if he dies, guess what? He's going to be replaced by another person who's more competent than Trump still.
Very much more competent than Trump. Yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So, I mean, do you want to go to the questions? Because you don't want to talk about the book, and we're
going to go into the questions right now. And then we're going to present the book of what you want to promote. And then we'll go a little bit in conspiracy about it.
Okay, so definitely we've been talking about how age is a factor. Yeah. Why do you think age isn't a factor for Trump? Because they're only 3 years apart. I mean, I know it's the vitality thing, you know? He is definitely more vibrant. On Thursday,
Sorry, go ahead.
On Thursday, Trump was more coherent with his lying.
Sure.
Like, he was more convincing with his lying. And I said to myself, you know, if I was a Trumper, I'd really love this performance. He was actually trumping it up real good. He was all ginned up and going. And for Biden, I mean, I'm listening. I'm like, he's saying all the right things. It's just he's really low, he's really hoarse, and he looks really dead. Like, for real. Like, what is it about Trump? How come people don't factor in the fact that he's 78 years old, and by the time he leaves office, it's a 4-year term, 79, 80, 81, 82. He'll be 82 when he leaves, which is basically Biden's age right now. He's 81 going into 82, right?
Yeah. So a couple of things.
Either 81 or 82.
A couple of things.
Yeah.
One, Biden actually has a responsibility to sound coherent. Trump doesn't. Trump never has the responsibility placed upon him to sound as coherent as possible or to answer questions as truthfully as possible. Biden does. And age does a lot of damage to all of that. So Trump can disguise his inability to say something coherent because he has always been incoherent. When you place the standard so low, they don't expect to actually look out for it. Biden has always had an expectation to sound as reasonable as possible, and the age is always going to be a factor. Secondly, Biden's older than Trump. He's older by a couple of years, but
like 3, I think.
By 3,
two and a half, something like
but
that.
Even still, age is going to catch up with you pretty quickly the more you age. It just is what it is. Can
I hop in?
Sure.
All right. My theory is, okay, when you look at George Bush 2, not Bush 1, because Bush 1 only had 4 years. When you look at Bush 2 and Obama that did 8 straight years, they looked like they aged like dinosaurs over those 8 years. They looked terrible when they got out of the White House. And from what I've heard, and you know, I watch a lot of news, the presidency ages people like really badly, because you have to imagine you're they say the leader of the free world. I mean, we're a very busy country. We meddle a lot and we do a lot of good stuff too. Sure. All right. But the president is pretty much up 24/7. And I think it's dying, Marnie. It looks like it's turning black. So the presidency is a very busy job. I believe George Bush 2 and Obama actually did the job. That's why they aged.
Sure.
Trump I don't think aged for those 4 years. and didn't really lose any mental capacity. He's the same because I don't think he did anything.
He didn't.
He was there chilling, golfing, going to Mar-a-Lago. There's a website that actually came up that said, I think it was if Trump is at Mar-a-Lago.com or something like that. You can Google it. And it basically put him in Mar-a-Lago pretty much most of the time. Like, he was never at the White House. And it was so bad, and the news cycle started to pick up on it, that Trump started to call Mar-a-Lago the Winter White House, or something like that, right? The guy didn't want to go to work. He didn't want to do shit. Nope. So
you're saying that in terms of presidency, the presidency and the work actually ages you more.
If you work. So gotcha. Biden, who came in at, 78, I think, about? Maybe 77, 78?
Yep.
Has aged because he's actually working. He's actually
having to do stuff and
putting policy forward. The guy's pushed forward 6 major acts, maybe more even.
Yeah,
he's doing freaking legislative work.
So that's number 3, right?
Right.
I would say I agree with you completely.
Thank you. And also, he has to manage 2 wars going on right now. We have Israel versus Palestine. So sorry, Palestine. It's gonna be, I don't know what's gonna go happen to y'all's country. It looks awful. Yeah. And Ukraine, God bless y'all. It's looking really terrible for y'all too. But he's managing to me like a second Cold War, and also another major war in the Middle East. To me, it looks like. And on top of all that, there's major currency changes that are kind of happening that are kind of may cripple the dollar. I think it's a major headache for him. And I think he's aged because of all of the other things that we don't know about. I don't know, maybe space aliens trying to come here and take over and shit.
Sure.
Right? It's a lot of work.
Yep.
It's a 24/7 job. People don't sleep with these jobs. That's why Obama looks like crap now. Still handsome, but looks like crap.
So let me move on to my third point, and then we'll move on to the next question. So the fourth thing that is an answer to all of this is that he's always had a stutter.
Biden?
Biden has always had a stutter.
But the stutter was never a problem, though.
It's going to be a problem when you age.
Oh, it's going to get worse.
I have a stutter sometimes. It takes me a lot of mental power to get out the ideas that I want to say, because I've also dealt with a lot of communication issues in my past. Not so much as stutter. It comes off as stutter. But so much of the fact that I can't put the words exactly where I need them to be, or express the ideas in a way that I feel like it's satisfactory.
Right.
But it is something that he suffers, and stuttering has always been something that he has had to deal with.
Yes.
And has to had pushed through. As he ages, it starts reverting back.
Interesting.
It's why I understand him when he's struggling to get the words out. And it's because it's not the fact that he can't remember them or anything like that, but because he needs to place them in the right way that he feels satisfactory with. Every time that I look at Biden talking, I feel him. Right. Because I am him. Because I see his mindset behind the mental process of communicating what exactly he wants to say. And it comes off as very, very, very tough for him.
Right.
And that is also due to his age. But anyway, so what's the next question?
I also think, I'm just going to add to that with stuttering, I believe that, it comes from something within their childhood, all right? Whatever it may have come from. Maybe it's bullying from people, maybe it's adults who are abusive, we don't know, right? But with stuttering, I think it gets worse when someone feels like they're not confident. And I think after Biden realized how badly he was doing, and I know he knows he was doing badly, the stuttering just got worse. Because it's great. I'm on freaking national television. There's about 70 million people watching. And here I am. This guy is crazy. I saw him looking, he kept looking at Trump are you crazy? But the thing is, the unfortunate thing is, Biden looks old, right? So he's aghast. He's kind of like his mouth is open. He's like, what the hell is this guy talking about? He's lying, but he's not saying anything. One, because he's a gentleman, but two, I think also because he kind of knew he was losing the debate. And then the stutter it got worse. It stumbled, and I think it just tumbleweed into a terrible performance.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next question. And then we'll move on to the conclusion in the book and stuff.
Please don't rush me. The next question is, all right, it's pointless to ask. I was going to ask what candidate you were going to vote for. Okay. Who do you predict Trump's running mate will be?
Oh, God.
Now
I have the strong feeling that he's going to choose someone who's going to... it's not going to be part of the original...
because right now it's J.D. Vance.
Moderate conservatives or anything like that. It's going to be somebody that's going to be a fanatic.
Okay, who's the guy from South Dakota that was also running against him?
Against
Cookie Monster. He looks like Cookie Monster.
Oh, I have
the
no
big bushy
idea.
eyebrows.
I don't
Anywho,
know.
so there. I want to say the governor of
South Carolina, yeah.
not South Carolina. Oh, maybe it is. But anywho, it's J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and this other guy. I think it's Doug Burgum. These are the three people that the news cycle is throwing up, saying that these are the three. Apparently, there's some complication with Marco Rubio because he's also from Florida, where Trump is also registered as a resident, and apparently the vice president is from somewhere else.
Right.
So there's a complication with Marco Rubio, who I think he would like because he can get the Hispanic vote with Marco Rubio. J.D. Vance, I think, will just solidify the white base, the working class base. If you haven't seen J.D. Vance's story, oh my God, there's a whole movie on it. It is wacky and heartfelt, but he's weird, and I'd never even considered voting for him. But J.D. Vance, and then the Cookie Monster guy, who's kind of weird. Doug Burgum is just he was one of the guys that was running.
I don't think so. It could be J.D. Vance, and it could be a fanatic.
J.D. Vance would be easy, but
sure, it could be a fanatic from his very base. I think this time he's trying to think, okay, who's going to actually do the things that I want him to do? Without any hesitation and without any question.
And that means breaking the law. That means like hanging people if they like hang Mike Pence thing out on January 6th. Yep. Like, hey, go hang that person. I'll go put this person on trial and execute them live. Like all the crazy stuff that we heard Trump say, or go get the DOJ to go get all of the former Biden administration. This is if he wins. He needs a vice president that's just going to be like, yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. On it, sir.
So, yeah, that's my opinion. I think it's either going to be...
in left field. Do you think it's someone out of left field?
Out of the right field. Definitely.
You mean left field? Because that would mean like it's someone completely like... Not left as in the left.
I know, but like I'd rather just call it the right field, completely right field. Somebody who's going to be a kiss ass, somebody who's going to be a perpetrator, that's going to do everything to support him, but any given chance is always also going to backstab him.
Okay, so I have a crazy wild prediction.
Okay.
I think he's gonna put Ivanka. Don't ask me how, but like I got some crazy feeling that this guy...
If he does, he loses the election.
No, he won't.
He lost.
No. He will definitely lose the election. But I said to myself, you know what? This is going to be a John McCain moment. Because I remember I was working in the news business for Voice of America around the time that Obama was running against McCain. And we were in the news office, like, we were all hearing, like, little drips, like, hey, McCain is picking someone, McCain. So we're in the office, like, who is it? And we all had these, like, inklings, like, who it might be. But never in a million years would we have said Sarah Palin was going to be that person. There was rumors that it was maybe Joe Lieberman, because Joe Lieberman is an old friend, and they were actually really, really close. Joe Lieberman has also been on a vice presidential ticket before. Joe Lieberman is, I don't know if he's still alive, but he's Jewish. Yeah. He would definitely get the Jewish base, probably he would, and I think he's also a Republican, or no, a Democrat. Libertarian. So he would have gotten like that middle vote. Anywho, I think it's going to be a woman. All right, just because...
He wants to capture the woman vote.
He wants the woman vote, and he also, I think, needs to tell women that, hey, we're not going to take away the rights of abortions. Like, I'm not that guy, even though he definitely will, by the way. This is one of the things the Supreme Court, I think, also kind of bizarrely got rid of a couple years ago. I woke up and put on NPR one day, heard that they dismantled Roe v. Wade, and I'm Catholic. I actually don't believe in abortion, just to be fair and honest. But I would never tell somebody they couldn't do it. It's bizarre to me. I'm like, what is it your business? It's like, are you going to raise that child? Are you fucking nuts? I'm going to raise your stupid kids. Go get rid of it. It's your choice if you want to. Do you know what I mean? I just find it so bizarre that you're going to ban it completely. You can't. You shouldn't ban it completely.
Yeah.
You can't force people to make children. Okay, so anywho, Trump, I think, is looking at a woman. This is my personal feeling. And I think what they're going to do is start maybe pushing maybe Boebert, or I think there's a couple others, Stefanik and other people. But in the end, I think Trump is going to push for Ivanka. He's going to convince his people to put Ivanka, I'm telling you. And I think it's going to be Trump 2024, teeing up Ivanka to take over as dictators, by the way, into the future. This is going to be how they try to take over the world.
Gotcha.
My prediction, all right? So you predict that it's going to be
it's going to be a
someone you definitely
it's
have never heard of.
It's going to be part of the original gang. It's what I mean by part of the gang of Trumpers, MAGAs,
right?
and
Which
all that.
there's so many.
So it could be Boebert, it could be
Corey Lewandowski.
He wants somebody that's going to kiss his ass, and it's going to be somebody that I predict if he does win, it's going to stab him in the back somehow. It runs into many scripts that are kind of predictable if you actually read the lines.
Okay.
But anyways, so yeah, that's my opinion. But
next question is, there's chatter in the DNC now after the performance. Okay, I heard a lot of Democrats had a meltdown. Does it make sense? Because they're talking about it, I think, actually, as we speak. Does it make any sense to change candidates this far in the game?
So this is actually a good question. And after this question, let's get to the book, because this is part of the conspiracy point. So the reason why I call this a conspiracy is because it actually is. There's people are conspiring to change the events after what just happened. It actually makes a lot of sense.
That they change candidates?
That they're thinking about changing candidates now, before it's too late. And they should. They really should be having this discussion.
Like a real discussion.
Like an actual real discussion, rather like, look, we got two other candidates that actually ran in the primaries. They weren't very popular and everything like that. But what if we can actually do that right now? And
like who?
So there was that senator from North or South Dakota who's the Democrat. I don't remember his name, but I do remember his face. I do remember that he had a certain energy that was like very conventionally like Democrat.
I don't remember who even ran against.
And then there was Williamson, Marianne Williamson, or whatever her name is.
Hell no, she's crazy.
Sure, but the point is that
we're gonna send
the
one
air, right. Okay, I get that, but like the reason,
girl, get your hippie ass.
but those were the two candidates that were running in the primaries for the Democrats, and of course Joe Biden won because nobody was really enthusiastic to change the game, even though they themselves were complaining about ageism. Sorry. Point is, yes, it makes a lot of sense that they need to have this discussion right now, because one, Harris is not popular at all. She's not, and to have her be placed in the front is going to destroy any chances of the Democrats winning. Secondly, if they get somebody younger, a younger Caucasian male, probably in his 30s or 40s, with actual political experience, with actual clear head, to be able to present the same ideas as Biden, but in a better format, Democrats have a larger win. Because the ageism factor is out. Because this guy actually ran in the primaries. And even though he was unknown, they could actually spin it in a way, that, oh, actually, you know what, this guy, the reason why he was won because he didn't have the recognition, but honestly, we caught him, and Biden is actually admitting to us that he's not feeling confident about himself and that he should actually retire. The way that I see this is okay. Do you know how I would play it out? I would have Joe Biden come up on television and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, with a heavy heart, it pains me to say that I am dropping out from the race.
Right.
I acknowledge that I am having issues nowadays with my age." Right. Something that I should start looking forward to in retirement. Something that I need to readdress myself as this challenging position has taken a toll upon me.
Right.
And I don't believe that I can lead this nation in a proper 4 years.
Really?
And so with with all this said, I do want to give my support to this one person that you may not know.
Right.
And that his name is this. Here's where he's from, what he has done, his accomplishments, where his position is now, and blah, blah, blah. The reason why I give my support, and although others may be running, is due to the fact that I have the utmost confidence in him, that he has demonstrated to us and the Democratic Party that he is loyal, that he will continue on the works and ideas and concepts in which we have strived for and we have championed for.
Okay, can I just say that is a terrible idea?
It is not a terrible idea.
So here,
actually, give me why that is a terrible idea.
Okay, so like I said, I watch too much political television. One of the problems that we have as Americans is we're not like other countries, all right? Like France, listen, if you change a law, them French people know. If they don't like it, they're out in them streets burning buildings down. They throw pies at their politicians. Mm-hmm. And
what's the issue here?
I'm trying to tell you, they pay attention. So in Europe, they pay attention to politics. You can't just have a Supreme Court that's going to do whatever it wants. They're going to go over there and they're going to protest. They burn shit down when they're mad about something. Here, we do protest, but it's not the same. It's not with the same kind of political fire. And you can't just switch up on the people as you like. Here Roe v. Wade got overturned. Where are the women in front of the Supreme Court going, "Hey, hi, womb holder, what are you doing? Fuck are you doing?" We should be in front of the Supreme Court every single fucking day until they reverse that bullshit. How did you reverse that? The rest of the world must be wondering, like,
Fran,
how much do these people hate women?
Right, Fran.
How much do they hate women? Why would you do that to women in 2024?
I'm confused here.
We don't have any kind of social welfare for real social welfare for people. We don't have maternal care, right? We don't give women enough time off work to take care of these babies when they're born. We have a terrible orphanage. Situation here. Let me finish my point. We don't even have the capacity to say, "Hey, when the baby is born, it's gonna have a great life because we're gonna give it to a great family. It's gonna raise them." You don't have these kids in these orphanages in this country. You know what happens in these houses that they hold and they fuck these kids. I'm not trying to be funny about nothing. These kids that go through the foster care system in this country are fucked. They are fucked up. It is beyond bizarre what people will tell you happens in foster care homes and foster care systems around this country, and how they have these kids going from home to home to home to home getting
without adding 5 more minutes.
Just saying,
adding 5 more minutes. What's the problem?
You can't ban abortion. The Supreme Court banned abortion.
Fran, we're talking about
they took up the case. They took up the case of whether the president of the United States has immunity to do anything he wants. Why would you even take that up? That's insanity.
Okay, time out. Did you get confused at some point what we're addressing right now?
What are we addressing?
We're addressing of like changing the horse.
Okay, so sorry. I go on tangents. We can't change candidates right now because Americans do not pay attention to politicians. And just like you just saw, we don't have a really great trend of thought, right?
Actually, I'm about to dispute that.
And on top of that, the way people win typically is going to sound wild. Name recognition, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say Chelsea Clinton decided to run. You're like, oh, Clinton. You're going to think of all the Clinton policies that came down and all the good times you had in the 90s and all them tax breaks and tax cuts you got in the middle. You're going to vote for Clinton because you remember those good feelings, right? If you say Bush is running, any Bush, Jeb, the rest of the Georges, who knows, like there's a whole clan of a whole clan of Bushes that are, I want to say a couple of them are still in politics. I know there's some rep in Texas that's still, and I think there's one in the Senate or the House. If you hear the name Bush, especially if you're rich, you're like, ooh, tax cuts galore, and whatever it is, policies that the Bushes push, family values and, I don't know, religion. Name recognition. People went off of name recognition. The problem with Kamala Harris is, I'm going to put money on it, there's some people that don't even know she's vice president. So if they put her on the ticket, they're going to be like, who is she? Now, me and you, we watch the news. So we've seen her in Senate hearings giving it to, like, crazy people that come up there trying to push crazy policies. We've been watching because she makes headlines, and she was making headlines before she was picked as VP. And also she ran against Joe Biden.
Sure.
So, anywho, name recognition. That's the first problem. If you put another candidate and they don't have name recognition, a lot of people are not going to know who they are, and they're going to be turned off. Okay. I would say keep Biden in there, and it's going to sound really wild and really sad, but we need to get Kamala Harris out of that seat.
Woo!
I would put, this is just my, I have no political, campaign experience or anything like that. Kamala Harris is I think, a weak vice president in the sense that she's no Cheney, and it's by design. The vice president is not supposed to hold a lot of power, and they're not supposed to ever outshine the president. So typically they're in the background. Sure. A vice president does a couple of things. I'm not going to mention it today. Listen to old episodes to hear that. Okay. But the vice president, she's doing exactly what she's supposed to do. Stay in the background, and if he dies and or something bad happens, you have to go in there and take over for whatever reason, right? She did her job perfectly fine. But she's supposedly unlikable, doesn't have a favorable kind of I think she's not an Obama or a Clinton. She just doesn't have the charisma for whatever reason. I personally love her. I would vote for her any day. I would love for her to be president any day. I would say keep Biden, switch it out, put Gavin Newsom because he's a firecracker. He can go out there and I think fire up the base. And then Biden, I think, would have a little bit of momentum behind him because Gavin Newsom has a lot of energy behind him. Biden wins, switch it over, give it to Newsom, bring back Kamala Harris in as vice president, and that's it.
Okay.
I think that would be my game plan right now if I were the Democrats. I would not switch out Biden because
I can understand from that aspect.
He's going to get my vote and most Democrats' vote, even if he comes in a casket. I'm voting for him.
I'm going to say that we've done this already before. We just haven't done it in recent history, but it's not a surprise that the Democratic Party has already done this before, as well as Republicans. When they needed somebody to really, really push forward, they would do it in the Democratic convention.
Right.
They would go in the back with their cigars and their whiskeys and actually talk to each other and argue with each other over, hey, listen, this guy, blah, 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 blah. Look, if you side with us, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, or we'll take this and we'll take that. Right. That's how they would decide, regardless of the votes.
Right.
Even though the votes were the final ultimate tallies that would actually confirm them, they would actually push a few of these guys to be in the forefront. Here, nowadays, we do it differently. So, really, I don't see an actual issue with them doing that. Name recognition could be an issue. Here's the thing. As long as you got a camera in the face, as long as you got a president talking about you, boom. You're already going to be pretty far forward in getting your name recognition out in the first couple of months. It's also going to fire your opponents saying, this is unfair, this is that, how dare you guys, which is actually going to psychologically actually pump up your numbers for the new guy.
No.
It actually is.
I highly doubt it.
So,
Go ahead.
So I pulled up the guy that I was talking about in reference. His name is Dean Phillips. He was running for the Democratic primaries right now.
Never heard of him.
I know, which is strange because you watch news all the time. I actually heard of him. I actually saw the posters. And he's a couple of things. So one, he's 55 years old. So in terms of that, he's actually pretty young.
Great.
Two, he's been in the Democratic Party for a while now. He's actually Minnesota's 3rd congressional district representative since 2019.
Never heard of him. Continue.
He's also a business owner. And so when he talks about the economy and stuff like that, he has an inkling to get the central conservatives over to his side. That would go against Trump in any terms. And basically, a lot of his talking points and policies would actually be just basically a reflection of Biden, except here, he would actually have a winning chance of winning over the Rust Belts, especially when it comes to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So, to change the horse, I would actually say go for it. Really, you don't have a lot to lose, honestly. You want to go with a losing strategy, just like Fran here, my friend. Wow. Go ahead and do it. If you want to change the horse right now, go ahead. Give Biden an opportunity to retire with dignity and to actually pass the reins to somebody new, even though they're not known. Now is a chance to actually say, hey, you know what? We heard you guys. Mm-hmm. Actually, let's do it right now. We've seen the debates. We actually agree with you. Let's get fresh new faces that will represent these ideas and that we're not going to be worried about the fact that they won't have energy. We need somebody that's going to be able to match Trump's energy. Yes. That's actually going to keep it concrete, concise, and clear to the American public. As long as you have that, that's not going to be arrogant. That's not going to be somebody who's like unfortunately elder in their age. Go with that. Either way, they should be having these talks. They really should.
Okay. Can I agree with you that Biden should sorry. I don't agree that he should step down, but if he does, I mean, I wouldn't be mad, to tell you the truth. But I think we're going into a gray space within our political, I guess, history here in the United States. There's also a possibility that Donald Trump may be sent to jail. But he
can still run.
That doesn't matter. From jail? If he goes to jail?
He can still run.
Okay.
The point is to get fresh faces.
No. Let's be real. Because we got to be really real. Joe Biden, listen. We did an episode on how many 80-year-olds, late stage seniors. All right. When I say late stage, I mean people who are basically so old they may possibly die in office. We did an episode on that. And one of the people we talked about was Dianne Feinstein, who was, I think, 95 or something. She died the next week. Yeah. Literally. I remember you sent me the video and I almost fainted. I said, we just talked about this. And one of the things that we talked about there when I played a clip of presidential candidate who was running from the South. What's her name? The lady that was running against Trump.
Oh God, I don't know.
Oh God, it's
one of those unknown things.
No, she's not unknown. Oh God, forget about
Nobody knows.
I got wine brain. But anywho,
she's a witch. Whatever. Point is, what?
Anywho, basically, the candidate that was running against Trump, basically said, "Hey, like the government and lots of heads of government, heads of senators and House of Representatives, they're basically like, a lot of them are so old they're literally dying in office. And when I say literally, I mean Dianne Feinstein voted, went home and died. That was her day, and she didn't even know what she voted for. Okay, she was rolled in on a wheelchair. She said aye after somebody told her to say aye.
Yeah.
And she was rolled out and went home and died. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of elderly people within politics. So for all intents and purposes,
we gotta do something about it.
Joe Biden may die. He may die before the election day.
Yeah, so that's why we need to.
So
think
okay,
critically
so I'm
about
just
changing
saying,
the horse now
Joe Biden may
before it's too
die,
late.
Donald Trump may go to jail. So for all we know, maybe these aren't even the final candidates, just based on the possibilities that are out there. Yes, Trump may still be able to run, but who's voting for someone who's actually behind bars? Who's voting for someone?
Hang on. The mere fact that we're talking about this and it makes sense to us, it's going to make sense to everyone else in the United States.
I hope so. Of all our
it's not that it's hoping for
fans, thanks for listening.
It's not just that it's going to do so, but like, yeah, either people are going to go with your strategy or going to go with my strategy. Either way, it's a changing of the horse.
They're not going with any of our strategies. We're not strategists. We're just two people on a couch.
It's still a strategy because we came up with a strategy of how they can move forward.
With
Point
no
is,
pants on, Ziggy.
hey,
shame
Fran,
on you.
Listen, it's still strategies, and it's still viable options in order to make sure that the Democratic Party gets a winning chance far beyond over Trump's. Because honestly, we're talking about America. We're talking about saving America. We're talking about getting ideas moving forward to get abortion rights back, to protect minority rights, and to create a better America. Now is the chance. Look.
And we need to get rid of some of those justices. Ooh,
yeah, we do.
Yikes!
Or we need to add more justices, or whatever the case is. No, we need to get
rid of some. Some need to retire. Some
sure,
need to be.
I'm not debating on this. Point is changes. Point is that we've seen what happened, and we've seen what happened on TV. I've seen it. What happened online. Look, I like Biden. We're asking for too many miracles by staying with him.
Yeah, we really
and
are.
It's with a heavy heart that I'm saying that. It is with a heavy heart. Yeah. I like the dude.
Oh, but we love Biden.
Yeah, but I know that Grandpa needs to step down. He needs to retire, spend the rest of his remaining lives with his friends and family, and leave a good legacy.
And help Hunter, Jesus.
And to help Hunter, to actually, have more time as a father role.
Yeah.
Point is that I believe that this whole thing in the background works. It's good. This should be a wake up call.
We love Joe. We love Jill. Yeah. We love the J&Js.
But sorry, I know they're rushing a lot, but it's been over an hour and a half, and we need to keep this concise. So what we're going to do now is talk about the book that you were wanted to promote.
Yeah. So.
And we're going to give 5 minutes into this and then close it out.
Okay. No problem. So.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to rush. I'm just trying to make you aware it's been
a long time. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like you wanted me to rush the whole time, though, but I get it. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this earlier because when I was doing research for the topic, I cannot say this enough. I have always believed that Donald Trump has some major psychological problems. It stems, I believe, from his upbringing. That's just me. But yes, we say he's a narcissist and all these things. But I think it's far worse than that. And I've said it before, too. I grew up in New York for about 10 years. I know what average New Yorkers are like. He is an average New Yorker. However, he has a lot of money. And I've said it before, too. He's a northeastern New Yorker. He has a nasty attitude. He's cynical. He's mean-spirited, which is very typical Manhattanite to me, honestly. But I think it's even worse because of his upbringing with his dad, who I heard is really strict. And I believe he suffered a lot of psychological and also physical abuse as a child. And he has turned out this way, always kind of trying to prove something to people. I think when he's on stage, I feel like he's trying to be like, please like me. Please like me. Even though he's on there and people are cheering him, I believe he's trying to get more and more people to be like, please love me. Please love me. And I think because he just didn't get any love as a child. I don't know what kind of love he got from his mother, but this is clearly someone who's never been loved. Like, really and truly, totally and unconditionally loved by someone. This is someone who's faced a lot of rejection and a lot of negativity, and all of the projections that he has, and all of these, I'm rich, I'm a really rich guy. It comes from a place of just emptiness and just bizarre insecurities. Okay, so with that, I read an article on that was written, and I'm just gonna say what it's by. It's written on thehill.com. It's an article talking about top psychologists say Trump likely to fall off mental cliff. Okay, it was on April 2nd, 2024. It's by Bill Press, and he writes. A psychologist, Dr. Gardner, who was a professor of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins Medical Center for 28 years, along with 36 other psychiatrists who are in the back of this book, was a contributor to the 2017 best-selling book. This is the book, The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. And he writes, I was stunned by Dr. Gardner's professional analysis. First, I asked Gardner whether he perceived any difference between the cognitive ability of Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Absolutely, he replied. It's like comparing apples and rotten oranges. It's not just a case of two old men roughly the same age, both showing signs of the diminishing sharpness of the mind. Gardner stressed there's a huge difference between the two. He said he could not have put it more clearly. Biden is aging. Trump is dementing. This is what he said. I mean, I read the article, but this is the book, A Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. And I will say clearly, I have not read the book. I am going to, and I'll give y'all a good read out of it, all right? But these are the things that I kind of like just skimming through kind of found. And an important, this is in the prologue, an important and relevant question that the public has been asking is the man simply crazy, Donald Trump, right? Or is he crazy like a fox? Is he mentally compromised or simply vile? When he lies, does he know he's lying? Or does he believe his own lies? When he makes wild accusations, is he truly paranoid? Or is he consciously and cunningly trying to deflect attention from his misdeeds? I think it's the latter. All right. Then on page 156, it reads, many critics of Trump, particularly journalists, but also those in the mental health field, have focused on his so-called narcissism. Damn. His need to be constantly approved of, the childlike nature of his character. In this, they are minimizing the significance of his paranoid belief, and in so doing are relegating his psychological dysfunction to much higher level than is actually the case. I'm going to read this last little bit from page 271. As with all adults, Donald Trump's early development created who we are witnessing. Children need to receive love and attention in order to feel secure, but they receive only the love and attention that their parents are capable of providing. Indeed, his father's intensity left its mark on the entire family. Donald's older brother essentially killed himself under his father's rule. He was an alcoholic, okay? This tragedy must have played a prominent role in the formation of Donald's identity and left minimum room to rebel against his father's authority, except through competition in the realm of business and success. So who we are witnessing, it looks like, is a guy who didn't really get a lot of love from his parents, and who's looking and seeking attention and approval from like every single body. And it's magnified to the point of like, you better love me, because I was never loved. And if you don't love me, you hate me. And if you hate me, I'm against you. And I hate you even more for like not loving me for who I am, because I'm perfect. That's how I see it. And I'm going to read the book. Maybe next episode, I'm going to give y'all a readout of this. It's looks like it's going to be super, super interesting. Yeah, that's pretty much the book. I'm going to put it up here so we can get that.
So yeah.
Oh, well, you can't really see it, but
this book.
Anywho.
We definitely promote this book. I'm going to throw in an image in order for you guys to see this. But anyways, I think that wraps it up.
Oh, so what's the conspiracy, by the way, that you were...
That was the whole conspiracy, like the background conspiring of the
DNC to get somebody else
and everything like that. So, and from my strategy of getting somebody who's unknown.
Right.
into the field because it's going to take time for people to actually create opinions against him or for him. But the mere fact that he's new, he's fresh, he's young, and has experiences and has enough energy, and it doesn't have to be upon Dean Phillips or anybody.
It's just anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah, my dog can win at this point.
If we can get like different candidates running for the DNC, now's the time.
So you want to be president?
Because what happens is, it's in the Democratic primaries that everything that happens. People who have voted for Joe Biden right now will understand, okay, maybe, you know what? If he doesn't want to run anymore, let the DNC choose.
Excuse me.
Because in any other case, people would be angry. In this case, okay, go ahead. You know why? Because Joe Biden's old. Joe Biden does need to retire. Joe Biden doesn't have that same energy.
No, he doesn't. He really doesn't.
And if the DNC can actually recognize and can actually take action without being afraid to say, you know what, let's change it now. Let's make a big gamble right now. No,
it's a bad gamble, but
old people are going to be stuck in their ways, but they're going to start seeing, oh, why is the approval ratings going up so quickly? Why? Oh,
what approval
guess
ratings?
Why? Guess why? Because it's a new candidate. Because it's an unknown candidate. Unknown candidates tend to be around 60 to 70% a lot more popular until people's minds are putting down.
It's too late. We're in June.
So here's the thing. Don't trust Gen Xers.
July.
They fucked up an entire
September. First of all, I'm a very old. I'm a very young Gen Xer. I was born in 1979. Okay, I'm 44 years old. I'm about to be 45 years old this year. Now listen.
So what I'm going to no. Let me finish. But
you're calling me old like I'm a boomer. I'm not a fucking boomer.
The cane is right over there. Thank you, ma'am. Anyways,
I'm closer to the millennials than anything else. I'm more like a millennial.
I'm not going to accept pessimism. Now is not the time for pessimism.
Pessimism or pessimism? Okay, Joe Biden.
Now is not the time for pessimistic point of views. Now is the time for optimism. Now is the time for a new change for our new America.
You sound like you should be running.
Thank you. Honestly, my slogan would be "Glory to America" or "America the Glorious," because honestly, guess what? A lot of people don't like what we do around the world or our past or our history and everything like that. But at the end of the day, have you noticed that when other people talk about Americans, we get angry? We get the most patriotic. Have you noticed the fact that like I would rather be here than anywhere else in the world with whatever fucked up stuff that they're going on? Because guess what? America is glorious. America is the place where you're able to change things in your life that you can't do in any other place. You make the choices that you make are consequential, but there's so many options that America is able to give you that you can do so much here.
Right.
There's so many opportunities. There's so much diversity.
Yeah.
There's so much difference of openness and ideas. America's number one.
We're number one.
America the Glorious. Glory to America.
Yeah.
If I were running, I would do that. But right now, the whole point I'm trying to make in my own conclusion is that miracles are running out. I love Joe Biden. If they choose to stay with him, I'm still voting for him.
Me too.
If they choose to change the candidates to someone else new, I would do that instantly, and it would be actually a better move. Right. You say it probably isn't. I say it is.
It's not a good idea.
But honestly, like I believe in my own like opinion that now's the time. Before the primaries happen, now's your chance. For once in your life, stop being cowards. For the love of God, DNC, actually take a risk and actually do something. This isn't the 1960s or 70s anymore. No one's going to make a vast opinion about like McGovern or anything like that. Times are different. Take it, choose it. Now's the time. Give Biden a break. Continue with his ideas.
I think that's a really good conclusion. I'm going to say all Joe Biden has to do is not die. All right? I'm being really honest. And all Donald Trump has to do is stay out of jail for this to be an actual legitimate like presidential race.
Yeah.
It's a race to win, I think, to win what I think, I know they call it the battle for the soul of America. That's what Biden says. I have lived here since I was about 12 and a half. and I've been through 8 years of George Bush, who was, I believe, not very smart. I mean, and I'm not trying to be mean-spirited or anything like that. The guy's probably smarter than me. Let's just be real. He went to really good schools. He comes from a really good family. He's probably had way more life experiences than me. So I'm not saying he's dumb per se. He didn't come across as smart as a Bill Clinton or an Al Gore or Biden. He was not, to me, politically astute. I didn't think he was the best candidate for the Republicans that year. They put him forward, and I cringed. I literally cringed. And I remember one time I was on the phone with my dad, because I was so disappointed. I was like, this guy's a joke. Like, he goes overseas, he makes us look so stupid. Yeah. And he really did. Like, he was like, got a shoe thrown at him in Iraq. He went to, like, the wrong door once. He just kept saying all this dumb stuff. And I'm like, I didn't feel like this with Clinton. I didn't even feel like this with Bush 1, honestly. I thought Bush 1 was okay. He was pretty cool. Yeah. Right? Reagan, even from overseas. I was like, that's a cool guy.
He's competent enough to actually take the seat, yeah.
There's like a certain kind of aura about the president. Donald Trump is crazy. Like, I was like, I didn't think it could get worse than Bush. When I was talking about that phone call with my dad, he was like, what do you think's going to happen? I said, Dad, you know what? I said, I have a feeling a lot of people are going to suffer in the end for their choices of 2 Bush terms. And the unfortunate thing is, between the Reagan years and even the Clinton years, there was so much deregulation that was done. Even the Democrats do it too, by the way, but the Republicans more than the Democrats. Between Reagan, some through the Clinton, into the Bush years, so much deregulation that was done that it literally bankrupted like certain industries because they were doing so much fraudulent, not even fraudulent because it was legal. They were doing too much backward stuff, all right? They made too many conglomerates, and the conglomerates just basically ate into themselves. They stole, all right, quote unquote, because it was legal stealing, a lot of money, right? I can't even go into it. But it toppled the banking industry and eventually toppled the entire U.S. economy, tanked completely. Yeah. Listen, there were people that went to sleep millionaires that woke up in 2009, 10, and 11 fucking poor. They lost everything. They lost fucking everything. That was a Bush situation. The only reason we got Obama is because John McCain said on a Monday, something like this, the economy is fundamentally sound. And then a week later, like, it never ended. It just went into,
a spiral.
Bank of America's out of business. This bank is out of, I'm just saying, like, a bank's, like, all the banks, like, slowly but surely. Oh, the European banks are collapsing. And it's like a complete collapse of the world economy starting in the United States because all the money is based on our money. Okay? Donald Trump is, I think, even worse than George Bush because George Bush actually worked on Republican policies. We don't know what Donald Trump does. We have no idea what this guy does. We don't know. We just know he does a lot of this. We know he doesn't care about the United States. It's all about lining his pockets and his friends' pockets and I don't know whoever else is willing to pay him to, like, to regulate shit. It's going to be crazy if this guy gets back in for 4 more years. I think the Democrats need a game plan to try to figure out how to get Joe Biden to the finish line. This is my personal opinion. He's not the greatest candidate. I don't know who they need to put in to, like, like Ice do comedy in New York. You have someone that comes out and, like, kind of tease up the guy behind you. And they're crowd warmers. Yep. Get Obama, get Michelle, get Gavin, Kamala out there, the lady from the down south that helped Biden win, the black woman.
Yeah, I remember. From Georgia.
Right, from Georgia. Okay, I forgot her name. Get these people, get the firecrackers out there. The Bernie, who's the lady that Trump called Pocahontas?
Oh,
but we all know who we're talking about. Get him out there. Get Cory Booker. Get all these guys out there. Secretary of Transportation, Buttigieg. He would be. I would love for him to be the candidate, but we're so close-minded in this country. Get these people out there. These are young, vibrant Democrats and liberals that will just, to me, be like, hey, he's not the greatest, but look at all of us here that are also going to be here to back him up once he gets into office. We're here, we're in the Senate and or congressional districts doing our jobs. If he dies for any reason, like, we're here to take over. Like, we're going to be pushing forward democratic policies. Then Joe Biden needs to be pushing a plan. What are you doing next?
Right.
He said something really awesome the other day where he said he's going to get all this money out to people so they can buy their first homes. Say that more. A lot of us can't afford homes. Yeah, we can't afford homes. Get a plan out there. What's your plan, Joe? We need to hear that plan. Get Obama out there. Get Michelle. Get all these other people out there. Let them tee you up. Crowd warm. You come out there. You talk all your talk, and we're going to love you. Say your folksy stuff. Call them an immoral alley cat. And let's win in 2024, because I cannot do another 4 years of Trump.
Well, that all being said, thank you so much for watching us.
Ziggy,
and we'll be next time with a new concept and a new idea, probably about the book.
New co-host.
But until then, love you guys and stay safe.
We're number one.